Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're diving into one of the most important, but honestly most overlooked parts of building a dream home, making sure it's actually peaceful. We're going to build a simple, practical checklist to make sure your custom home is the quiet sanctuary you've always wanted. Let's get right into it. So you're finally doing it, building from scratch. You're picking out the perfect countertops, the exact right finish for the hardwood floors, and you're designing that amazing open concept layout. I mean, it is such an exciting time, right? Creating a space that is 100% you. But here's the thing, the catch really. All those beautiful hard surfaces and big open rooms that we love so much, they can turn our dream homes into giant echo chambers. Suddenly, that gorgeous open-plan living room means you can hear the TV from the basement all the way up in your bedroom. And that sanctuary you dreamed of, well, it starts to feel a little less serene. This quote really just says it all, doesn't it? It's such a common mistake. We pour all this money into the things we can see and touch, but we completely forget about the very structure that separates our living spaces. And the result is, you move in and you realize you can hear everything, every footstep, every conversation, every little noise. But you know what? There's a much better way to do this, and it all starts with a little bit of planning. So here's our game plan. First, we'll touch on the basic science, what I'm calling the laws of silence. Then we'll get into the good stuff, a practical checklist of materials you can actually use. We'll talk about where to put your money to get the biggest impact, how to plug up those sneaky sound leaks, and finally, we'll talk about why this is probably one of the best investments you can make in your new home. All right, first up, the laws of silence. Now, don't worry, this isn't going to be a physics lecture. Achieving a quiet home isn't some kind of construction magic. It's actually based on 3 really simple principles, and once you get these, you can have a really smart conversation with your builder. Let's break these down real quick. First, the mass law. Super simple. Heavier, denser walls are just harder for sound to shake. That's it. Next is resonance. You know how wine glass will ring at a certain pitch? Well, every material has a frequency it vibrates at easily. We just want to avoid materials that resonate with sounds like human speech. And third, decoupling. This just means creating a physical break in the wall so the sound waves can't travel straight through. Think of it like taking a plank out of a bridge so nothing can cross. Okay, now if you only remember one acronym from this whole thing, please make it this one. STC, Sound Transmission Class. This is the most important number we're going to talk about. It's basically just a score that tells you how good a wall or a door is at blocking the sound of someone talking. Simple as that. The higher the STC number, the quieter the room. And here's the magic number we're aiming for in the most important rooms. STC 50. This is what's known as the privacy threshold. When a wall has this rating, loud speech on the other side is pretty much inaudible. So for places like your home office or the master bedroom, this is the gold standard. Okay, so let's take all that theory and turn it into a checklist you can actually use. We're moving from the why it works to the what you need to ask for. These are the specific materials and designs you'll want to talk to your builder about to hit those STC targets. Now, this chart is where it gets really interesting, because you can see how much things change with just a few tweaks. Look at a standard interior wall, the kind most homes have. It gets an STC of around 33. You can definitely hear conversations through that. But now look what happens when you just add some dense mineral wool insulation into that wall. You jump all the way to an STC of 45. That's a massive difference in how it feels. And then you have the staggered stud wall. That's that decoupling principle we talked about. That gets you to an STC of 55. Perfect for a home theater. It just goes to show a little bit of planning makes a world of difference. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds like it could get pretty expensive. But here's the secret. You don't have to build your entire house like it's a bank vault. The smart way to do this is to focus your budget on the critical areas, the places where a little extra quiet will make the biggest difference in your day-to-day life. So where should you focus? Well, the walls around the master bedroom are a great place to start. A home office is a no-brainer these days, right? You need to be able to focus. Also think about the walls that separate bathrooms and laundry rooms from your main living areas. And of course, home theaters or a kid's playroom, especially if it's next to a quieter room. Investing in these zones gives you the absolute best bang for your buck. Let's just look at a side-by-side for a bedroom. On the left, you've got your standard wall, an empty space between the drywall, STC 33. You can hear loud speech, no problem. Now look at the right. The only change we've made is adding that mineral wool insulation inside the wall. That one single, pretty inexpensive upgrade jumps the rating to STC 45. Now, speech is just a muffle. It's pretty amazing how such a small change during construction can make such a huge difference later. All right, so you've done it. You designed a fantastic high STC wall, but You're not done yet. You have to remember that sound is just like water. It will find any crack, any little gap, any weakness, and it will pour right through. We call these flanking paths, and if you're not careful, they can completely ruin your beautifully designed wall. So what are the usual suspects? Well, the gap under your door is a big one, a huge one. Then you've got electrical outlets. If they're put back to back in the same wall cavity, you've basically just created a direct hole through the wall. Shared air vents can act like a little telephone between rooms. And finally, those tiny gaps where the drywall meets the floor and ceiling, those need to be sealed up. Paying attention to these little details is absolutely critical. And this chart right here shows the single biggest sound leak in almost any room, the door itself. That standard, cheap, hollow core door has an STC rating of maybe 20. It's basically just cardboard and air. But just by upgrading to a solid core door, you can boost that rating up to 35. That's a massive difference. You could have an incredible STC 55 wall, but if you put a flimsy hollow door in it, your room is only as quiet as that door. So, as we start to wrap this up, I want to reframe this whole conversation. We've been talking about materials and numbers and ratings, but what we're really talking about is an investment in your own quality of life. This isn't just another expense on a spreadsheet. This is a long-term investment in your daily peace, your ability to focus, and your overall well-being. And when you step back and look at the entire budget for a custom home, the cost for these upgrades is surprisingly small. We're talking about a really tiny slice of the pie, maybe 5%, or even less to get these strategic upgrades done in the rooms that matter most. It is truly one of the highest value investments you can possibly make. And that brings us to what is without a doubt the single most important takeaway of this whole explainer. The time to think about all of this is right now, during the design phase. You have to have this conversation with your architect and your builder from day one, because trying to fix a noisy room after the drywall is up, it is so much more difficult and way, way more expensive than just getting it right from the start. I just love this final quote. It really captures the way we should be thinking about home building today. A truly well-built, high-end home isn't just about the fancy things you can see. It's also about what you don't hear. It's a home that feels solid, peaceful, and truly calm. So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. When you close your eyes and imagine your perfect home, what does it sound like? Is it hearing your kids laugh down the hall, but it's just muffled enough that you can still focus in your office? Is it the sound of pure silence when you close your bedroom door at night? Because with just a little bit of planning, that is exactly what you can build.